Reese. I've had some difficulties getting videos out. I was trying to use my laptop to just upload quick talk sessions like the dojo tips and martial arts chat, but something happened. I don't know what it was. The frames per second were really bad, and everything on that, like the sound, just, of course, it's like the sound was going as slow as the videos, and it was just really disruptive. It's really bad. So I'm gonna have to redo a whole bunch. So today I'm gonna try to do in like one shot a big week's worth of videos, because I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do next, or when I'm gonna be able to shoot my next ones. So I'm just gonna try to do this quick. So my martial arts chat I'm gonna start with first. Martial arts chat, because the reason why is because the UFC 193, the Ronda Rousey Holm fight. But it was a big card too. It was a decent card. The sad part is there was some fights in there that were. There was one that I don't even know how it made the card, and I'll get into that in just a second. Because the fights, we'll just go ahead and just talk about the fights. The one I will bring up is the ones that you can think about the most. I got Uriah Hall and Whitaker. That was a decent fight. It was not too bad, but because Uriah Hall's a very skilled fighter in kickboxing, I actually picked him to win. He didn't, and the reason why was the exact reason why the strategy that he had failed him in this. Whitaker is a very fast, very strong, and an aggressive fighter, an opposing opponent to have, to be the kind of fighter that Uriah Hall is. Uriah Hall is a counter fighter. He likes to fight. You give him something, and then he likes to respond. But someone like Whitaker, who is extraordinarily, he's fast and he's strong and he's very aggressive. That doesn't work so hot as a counter fighter. You're going to be back on your heels a whole lot more, and then all the speed and all the stuff that Uriah Hall has, all the talent, skill, technique that he has, will kind of go out the window. And the reason why is because you can't really counter so much when you have someone deeply aggressive into your face, especially when they're fast and they hit hard. And that's what Whitaker did. He came out hard, aggressive, and fast, and just he kind of jacked. I think Uriah wasn't maybe expecting it to be that hard or that fast paced, and I think it took him off his game a bit. And then he continued to try to fire back, and there were some things that he did that were decent, but he threw some really mistimed kicks, misplaced, which is a key for kicking, and I know he knows it. So it was a lot that he would throw certain things when he did. But again, maybe it's just Whitaker having quick feet, and he just knew how to move. So it just seemed like it was almost like he didn't exactly have a strategy for Whitaker, and when the fight started going the way it went, he kind of just he didn't know what to do. It didn't have a clue what to do. Yeah, and it went the way, as soon as it started, it went the way that I thought it was going to go. I thought Uriah was going to win it, but as soon as I saw the fight start, and I saw how he was kind of seemed to stumble over himself a little bit, and he wasn't able to do what he does with his strategy the most, I kind of went, unless he starts firing back and hitting first, starts actually going after him, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't for Uriah Hall. I'm only going to talk about 4 fights, because these are the fights that seem to be in my opinion, what would make a difference. And the reason why I'm going to talk about the next one, which is the Hunt and Silva fight, the reason why I'm even talking about this fight is because of how lame it is. That fight should have been nowhere near the co-main event. It shouldn't even made the card. It should have been the very first fight in the prelims. It was sad. It was not a good fight. It was a very bad fight. It was questionable at most on what happened. And these two guys are older. They just seem like, honestly, Silva looked like he was waiting on his meds at the end of the fight. He got nicked in the head, and if that's what it takes to take you down now, because I've seen him take some big shots before, he got nicked in the head. Now, people can, if you want to contest it, that's fine. It looked to me, I'm just saying it looked to me, even on the slow motion, that he got nicked in the temple of the head. I mean, it wasn't even a direct shot, and he dropped to all fours. And not only did he drop to all fours, but he dropped to all fours and looked up like this towards, like, waiting on Hunt. Like I said, he just looked like he was suddenly waiting. He was just sort of waiting for something. And then he took a few big shots there, and then they called it. Retirement send-off? I don't know. I don't know what this was. It was a pathetic showing, and it should have not made the big main card. I don't believe so at all. I think they should have really, really questioned it. And people are going to probably argue, Hunt's a big name, Silva's a big name. But really, has it been a fight that everybody's been wanting? It's kind of like the sequel to a movie that people really didn't ask for. Like, it needed a sequel? Why did it even come out? The same thing. Did anyone really care if this fight happened? Besides their fan base? It's like, really, I'm sure they could have filled that card with something else. I'm sure they could have brought in somebody or some other fighters that could have done a better showcasing of skill and talent compared to that. That's a fact. That is a straight up fact. Come on. So the co-main event, Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Valerie Letourneau, did not go the way I thought. I picked Joanna for the win, and that's because Joanna is a beast. I honestly thought, though, it would be second or third round TKO. They would have to call it because of a beating, or the beating that she would give Letourneau. And I wasn't wrong about the beating, but at the same time, it wasn't the beating I thought it was going to be. Letourneau is tough, and I think people should recognize how tough she is. She is tough. 5 rounds, went all the way through, and she stood with the champ. She stood with her better than Carla Esparza did, Jessica Pena. Anyone that has faced Joanna has not stood with her as strong as Letourneau has. And I think that should be recognized. I think that should be something that people are writing down and noting for Valerie Letourneau, that when she comes back, she's going to come back. I not only think she's going to come back stronger and better, I think she's going to shock some folks. I think she's going to turn it up a bit, and she's going to surprise some people. Because she's got some talent, and she's tough as nails. She even put Letourneau, or not Letourneau, but Letourneau put Joanna in a position that I was thinking, oh my, I don't think she's been, I was turned to George Takei. Oh my. I was like suddenly sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know if Johanna's been in this position. She caught a round kick, put her on the ground with it, and just started to proceed to beat on her. Dana White was saying, oh no, Joanna won every round. I don't think so. I think Valerie took at least round 1, at the least round 1, because she did more damage and just controlled the fight a little bit better than Joanna did, and a little bit better, I think, than Joanna was expecting. But by the end of the fight, Joanna retains her title, and she really damaged Valerie, though. That leg, her front leg, Valerie Letourneau's front leg was so torn up by the leg kicks that Joanna was throwing. I was actually very shocked to see her still standing on it. That's how I know she's tough. I've seen men take lesser shots drop, and that leg was pretty much mincemeat. That thing was swelling and red and welted and was in a bad shape. And then you have the fact that her face was just decimated. She gave her own shots. It's not like Joanna went unscathed. She took some heavy shots. She took a couple of shots, even with some kicks in the midsection, that I think kind of shocked her, because but at the end, the fact that she was still standing on that leg, and both eyes were really messed up. But and that's just honestly, that's just a credit to how much power Johanna can put in that 115-pound frame. She can hit hard, and I think that's the reason why I said that she was going to win it, was because she can hit hard and she can hit fast. And that was one thing that she kept doing, because after that one takedown, she never got taken down that same way again, and she just like fought all the time. Every time she would catch, and Letourneau caught her leg a lot, but it almost like she didn't know how to sweep that leg out, or she just wasn't in a good position to do it, or something. But she also would catch it, and Johanna would just start throwing punches, comfortable at bouncing around on one foot, and just start throwing punches, and it would be eating up Valerie a lot, so she had to let go. So it was definitely one of those things that you have to look at it and going, yeah, there was some good exchanges, but then closer to the later rounds is when Johanna turned it up, and Valerie started slowing down. So it definitely was there was a battle of attrition at the end, and Johanna, just her conditioning is crazy. She's got some mad conditioning, and I have much respect for her. Like I said, I kind of picked her to win anyway, and I was shocked on how far it went. Actually, I was really shocked, but still, great fight. It was a great fight, and I think people should look at the Letourneau as a serious threat in that 115-pound division. Now on to the big thing: Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. It was an upset. People are saying not if you know fighting or whatever. Here's the thing: the reason why it's an upset is because people who, let's see, Sarah McMahon, who is an Olympic medalist in wrestling, she was an Olympic medalist too, was taken out by Ronda. People who were considered good strikers have gone against Ronda and have been taken out. Okay, so these good strikers and these good grapplers have been taken out by Ronda Rousey. So it is an upset when you look at someone who is considered the 7th seed, all the way ranked number 7, not even the number 1 contender for the belt, but ranked number 7, to even take out Ronda Rousey. I mean, even Dana White looked like he was at a funeral when he was sitting there talking at the post-fight interview. He was like he'd seen a ghost. Like, I don't know what to do. Almost like he bought a lot of, almost like he had the newspaper write the headline, Ronda retains her title against Holly Holm, and now he's like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with all those newspapers. Guess I'm going to have to put them in the bird feeder. I'm going to have to put them underneath my bird and maybe potty train a few puppies. I don't know. It's become it was just this weird reaction. Like, not like, whoa, it was such an intense fight. That was one thing I wasn't expecting. That was crazy. Instead it was like, yeah, should be sorely missed. Overcooked. He had this weird reaction about it. And the fact is, yeah, you're right. If you're following fighters, and if you thought it was going to be this stand-up fight, yeah, I would have picked Holly Holm for a stand-up fight for sure. But seeing that it's MMA, I thought for sure that Ronda would just go all out and just do, find different ways to get her to the floor and not try to stand with her. And ultimately, even when people say she tried to outbox the boxer, that's really not true. That's not a true statement. Ronda Rousey went for her classic head and arm throws every single time. She likes to grab by the head and throw, or grab by the head and arm, keep it trapped, and get you down on the ground. She likes to get into these positions. 1, it's easy to grab an arm bar. 2, it's easy to be able to scarf hold you out there and just sit there and pound you out. There's a lot of things you can do in these positions, and she knows how to work them. And then in the clinch-ups, she got one trip, and that was it, and Holly Holm was able to out-muscle her in certain positions, and she's never been out-muscled before. That's another thing. She's never had anyone that much stronger than her that could out-muscle her position. And definitely you could see the exhaustion coming from Ronda, because she got nailed. I mean, these straights, the straight lefts and the hooks and the combinations that Holly Holm was throwing at her were going right down the pipe like every other person who's ever thrown a punch at Ronda does. They always land right down the pipe, right in her nose and her face. She eats them all the time. She's always ate the shots. She always does. And when she rushes in, she takes a few shots and then gets a hold of you and throws you down. That's how it's always been with a striker. She's always been able to take the shots. Holly, though, her footwork's better than the vast majority of the strikers in UFC. The vast majority of the strikers in UFC, especially in the female division, she has better footwork than they do. Okay, not all of them. I'm not saying all. I'm saying the majority. And the reason why I say that is because her footwork is based off of boxing and kickboxing. Her boxing career and her kickboxing, and then, of course, her pro MMA career, she is just formidable when it comes to her footwork. She knows how to move. She's a pro boxing champion. Okay, she has some championships. She's a pro boxer. She is, she holds titles, and that means she's beaten people that are really good in that sport. So she was able to move her feet. She would take angles. She would circle out. She would move away. She knows when to plant and when to pop out. She knows when to move. She knows how to move her head. She knew how to, basically bob and weave. She knows how to move those things. She knows how to keep her hands up. She knows when to frame up to keep herself away from someone's clinch. She knows a lot of these things because she wants to stick to what she knows, and that's striking. So she played a very intelligent game. She did the things that she knows to do, and this was the best fight she's had in the UFC. The best one, straight up. Her first fight in UFC, she was going up against, I had her name. It just went out of my head. Just put her name in the comments. The first fight, she's a tough chick, so I was wondering how it was going to go, and she made her eat a few shots, but it went the distance, and it wasn't the impressive showing that everybody was wanting from Holly, but it is what it is. And then her next one, she went out there and she ended up put it on that girl pretty hard. I mean, let's face that, she put it on her. But still, I was a little more shocked about the fact that she really hadn't been knocking people out with that head kick like she was, before she got in UFC and things like that. I was a little shocked. This is the first time we actually seen that in UFC. In UFC, that leg kick, that nice roundhouse, that lead roundhouse kick, basically just her roundhouse kick that she likes to do, that head kick, and knocking someone unconscious. And it's because she waited until it was time, right until it was perfect timing to use it. And that's when she used it and nailed it right on the nose. But there's no way Ronda was trying to outbox her. She wasn't trying to box her. If she was, she wouldn't have thrown the slop that she was throwing. And the fact is no, she's never had great striking. I've said it since the beginning. Her striking is not good. It's not been good. She's not thrown one solid leg kick. She's not thrown hardly anything. She's thrown maybe a few knees in the clinch. And some of them are good. The vast majority, though, didn't have power on them, just like the ones that she gave into Holly. Holly got hit with a knee, and Holly answered her knee with a knee, and it just disrupted Ronda altogether. And you could see the difference, physically see the difference in how the knees were provided. And she did catch a knee. One lady, the fight got totally stopped when she caught McMahon in the diaphragm right as she's breathing out. She hit it perfectly at timed knee, but you can say it was perfect timing. She did it perfectly, or we can say she was throwing knees and it caught her at that time. So either way you look at it. Am I saying Ronda is a bad fighter? No. Ronda's a fantastic athlete, a great judoka, and she's very wonderful at what she does. She's great at it. And no one should take that away from her. She was a champion for a reason, and it's because she was an Olympian. Okay? That's not to be taken lightly. Okay? No one should take that lightly. And that's the reason why her work ethic was what it was. She is very strong. She's very tough. I unfortunately believe she was also like the unpopular kid in school that all of a sudden she's hanging out with the cool kids and everyone's saying how cool she is now. And she's very sensitive when you challenge that coolness. and she seems to try to emulate all what those cool kids do, when in reality it's just disrespectful. And then everyone else is hyping her up in degrees that they don't hype up other fighters. And it was kind of odd. It was just weird. You know, George St. Pierre was in a movie too, and no one seems to bolster him up as much. But yet, for some reason, Rousey, because she's a woman, because she's an attractive woman, she seems to catch a lot of media hype. And even though she earns a lot of the, she's a great fighter, she's a great this, she's a beautiful woman, she earns all that stuff. She is all those things. But to be deemed the best fighter in the world, you have to fight the best fighters in the world to be considered the best fighter in the world. Okay? And, you know, so that's to say she's a great woman athlete, or she's the top of this year of the woman athletes because of the things that she was doing in MMA. That's great. I think I would accept that. To say that she's the top world athlete, the toughest, fighter in the world, and they mark that under men and women. No, I'm not going to give you that one. Not even slightly. And her striking is bad, always been bad. She's always kept her head straight up. Her guard is never up, it's always down. She leads, and when she throws her punches, she leads right with her head, right with her face. Let's lead in like this and not hide behind her shot. She tries to hide it behind her. She tries to hide that head behind her shot. But instead, it's more like she leads with her face first and then throws that hand out lazily underneath instead of up in front of her to where she can be covered up. You know, and what happens? She eats a shot. And she winds up, jerks that shoulder every time. She's done it for years. She does it in her training. She does it when everybody tries to showcase her boxing in her training videos. It shows it to me every single time. And if you know anything about not telegraphing your shots, you know anything about how to throw a punch properly, like an actual boxer or an actual someone who knows how to strike, you will see these ticks. You will see it all every single time, and Holly did. And she was fighting like a street fighter with her strikes, straight up. And she got beat up on it because of it. She tried to take her down several stinking times. She just went high every single time. When she went low for a trip, she got the takedown. She just unfortunately could not get her armbar locked in. And one, because Holly was smart and was powering that arm right next to her side, where most people are trying to post out, and they're getting used to this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu posting out thing like a lot. And I know that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys would get on me and they say, no, they keep everything tight. For the most part, they do, but even the untrained guys like to post out and they get their arms way out there. And that's how she normally will sink that thing in and roll you over. And that's just how she works it. Holly did not do that. She kept it sunk in and kept herself where she was not just turtled up, but tight, like you couldn't get through, and she just kind of outmuscled her in that position, and eventually she made her pay for it, and shucked her off. She shucked her off many times, and when she was in the clinch, she would fight in the clinch, which Ronda was not used to. Everybody's so busy trying to stop her, they were not thinking about the fact that, if I start punching her in the face, she's going to either let go or she's going to just get knocked out because I'm going to continue hitting her until she lets go of me. I'm going to keep this close to my side and I'm going to start hitting her like crazy because she's not blocking her face because both of her hands are totally occupied. And she did. There's some strategies that she needs to start thinking about, and she needs to find a new coach. She needs to find a new striking coach because Edmund didn't do her any justice. He should have totally had her switch up her game. He should have totally had her switch everything that she was doing. And instead, she got the advice of, you're doing great. You're doing great. And and it's the same BS that he continues to hand her when he's training her and when she's doing the shots. He doesn't work on her footwork. You can see in the fight. He doesn't work on her. She's got power and she's got quickness. That's fine. She's an athlete. I expect it. But she didn't have any technique, and she didn't have basically any of the fundamentals down that you're taught right away in a striking situation, in a proper striking coach, is footwork, evasions, and you keep your head down and your hands up. Proper things. And she was missing all those things. She needs to move on from that guy. If she wants to keep him, that's fine, but she needs to go out and find some other people as well. And really, honestly, I'm just a little shocked that she grappled with the Diaz brothers more than actually looked at their boxing. because Nick Diaz has some really good boxing. So I think she should really have looked into that a little bit more. So is she a bad fighter? No. Does she's had some bad coaching? Yes. She's had some improper training, and kind of just maybe drank her own Kool-Aid that she was just going to walk through somebody, and wasn't anticipating someone was going to actually finally wisen up to it. It happens to everybody. It happened to Anderson Silva. It happened to Chuck Liddell. It happened to Randy Couture. It happened to, it happened to Hoist Gracie. It happened to Matt Hughes. It's happened to George St. Pierre. It's happened to all the champions, B.J. Penn. All these champions who have been in there, they've all lost their championship at some point, just at some time. And why is that? It's because eventually people are going to wisen up to where they're at, and they're going to know their strategy, and they're going to overcome that. And it's just about being better at that moment. So much respect to Holly, because she fought the game that she knew she had to fight. And I feel bad for Ronda, but I hope that this taught her to maybe come down a little bit off of the mountain and say, okay, I need to just dedicate some time to just my striking, maybe. Because her judo is already at a high level. It's at a supreme level that a lot of people aren't going to ever get to. So she's already here in that, so she just needs, in my opinion, just take from what her striking is now and find some other really good, some actual good kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing. I mean, I'm not saying one of those. I'm saying all those kind of coaches that know what they're talking about. Okay. Well, if you guys have seen UFC 193, awesome. If you haven't, you watch this video. Sorry, that's a spoiler for you, but that's what happened. It's all over the media. It's going to be spoiled anyway, but it was a good fight, surprising and shocker. I thought Ronda was going to take it. I thought she was going to get her to the ground. When she went high, I thought, hey, maybe she'll just drop low and start getting some double legs and she'll get wise and do it. She never did. I was a little shocked by that too. But it is what it is, and Holly Holm was just she was smart. She had her strategy down. She knew exactly what she was going to have to do. And she found the mark. She just found the mark at that time. It was the right moment, the right time. And Ronda was already kind of messed up. Her nose was messed up. Her mouth was messed up. So she was breathing out of her mouth a lot. She probably couldn't breathe very well. So she just got caught, and that's what happens. It's just the way of a fight, really. So but yes, she's still a great fighter. There were some good fights. There were some sad fights. I really think UFC needs to start really looking at some of these fights, though. I mean, because wow, you wouldn't have sold a card on that Hunt and Silva fight, not even a little. So that's just my opinion. But you know what, guys? Just leave your comments if you saw it. Let me know what you think. I'm not here. I don't want any Ronda bashers. I don't want any Holly Holm bashers. I don't want anyone bashing these people, because they're tremendous athletes and they are worth every penny of what they do. Well, okay, maybe they get paid a lot more than I think they should, but they're out there. They're doing their job. It's what they do. You know, on your best day, you might get beat, and on your worst day, you're gonna lose, man. You could win, you're gonna lose. It's just the name of the game. So Holly, watch your back. I know people are out there that are gonna be gunning for you now just because you beat the one that was at the top, the unbeatable, and now everybody's gonna be gunning for you, not because you've unbeatable, but because you dethroned her, and now they're gonna think, well, we can dethrone you just as easy. So keep up your training, train hard, because there's a target on your back now. So just keep it up. Tell me if you guys think that there's going to be a rematch. I honestly think, because she's already said it, Ronda Rousey says she's going to leave for a while. She's going to do some, basically do her projects, probably movies, and then maybe come back. So, and she wants to come back. I'm sure she wants to come back, and she wants to probably win and go out on a high. And it could be like this Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture type fight where they trade back and forth for a while of who is going to take it. But at the same time, let's look at the inevitable fact, too, that maybe if she leaves and goes and starts doing movies, she realizes, I can make more money doing this and not get my head kicked in and not take the abuse. I might go here. But she also might be able to now, dependingly, she might be able to go do her WWE thing she's been saying that she wanted to do. So there's that. You guys let me know what you think and comment down below, and let's continue to talk about, be good about this. Let's criticize, because if you guys start trashing Ronda or you trash one, I'll take your comment off, okay? Just be known. All right? Let's be nice. Let's talk right. And we'll talk later.